Hey everybody, Joe Joseph here for thedailysheeple.com, and this is your news shot. I want to go to the Hill. They say Google looks to mend fences after a rocky 2017. Yeah, they look to mend fences, all right. Too bad it's with the wrong people. And you'll see in just a second, you know, really the people that they should be mending fences with is us. 2018 should be the lessons learned year for companies like Google and Facebook and Twitter. But it looks like they're just going to go more for the hard way. Looks like learning the hard way seems to be in the way human beings tend to learn, but most importantly, especially when they're doing things for the wrong reasons. And in this case, you know, to control humanity, to engineer society, to try and shape and mold it the way that you want to see it, instead of letting people live the way they want to live and let society kind of go on its own and be free. No, instead, they're going to go down this road, and they're going to meet all sorts of problems associated with this. You know, I said the whole fake news narrative last year, that's going to end in disaster. It is ending in disaster. As a matter of fact, they've ditched that whole narrative because it didn't work, because it backfired. Facebook, same thing. They started flagging news using their reputable sources to do so, and people went to those stories that they flagged more because they said not to do it than when they didn't do anything. So it actually backfired. And of course, look, all we have to do is take a look at what do children do. You know, if we take a look at what our own kids do, you can kind of get an idea of how humanity will react to this kind of thing, this authoritarian push. And typically we go the opposite way of the way authority tells us to go. Why? Because typically there's some ulterior motives involved that would try to negate your free will. And that's exactly what's happened. It says Google's aiming to mend fences in Washington after a difficult year that saw its public image take a hit and new scrutiny from lawmakers. The company was embroiled in a number of controversial issues, from Russia's use of its platform to interfere in the 2016 election. Just out of curiosity, how many elections have we been interfering in, and in what ways? You know, we've got Radio Free Europe over in Europe that, of course, broadcasts into the tens of thousands of watts to push it into Russia and other areas of Europe that may not be friendly to the United States, all with the express purpose of coercion and propaganda. We've put leaflets over the skies. Of course, we violate sovereign airspace of other countries to drop leaflets over their land in an attempt to do that. So what? So if we do that, right, say we're just using that archaic version, and we still do it to this day, then why and how can we go and say, Russia, shame on you, when we do this to every other country in the civilized and uncivilized world? I mean, this is what we do, and we're calling them crazy for doing it? I mean, this is nuts. Says that disclosure angered lawmakers. Yeah. Who grilled executives from Google as well as Facebook and Twitter. How dare you let somebody else's propaganda campaign take foot in this country? It's supposed to be us. I must say, says Senator Dianne Feinstein, I don't think you get it. Yeah, that's what she told lawyers from Google, Facebook, and Twitter during a November Senate Intelligence Committee hearing. Ron Wyden, often played on YouTube clips as being this, champion for freedom. He's no champion for freedom. It's like, it's self-evident that in past elections you've failed. Yeah, I'll say. They didn't do anything but just allow things to kind of go. That's the problem. See, when you don't interfere with things and things are allowed to progress naturally, the truth comes out. Well, it comes out anyway. It does come out anyway. All Russia was doing was letting people know where things actually stood, which our mainstream media doesn't do. Our mainstream media since the 1940s have really been in the government's pocket. Before that, they kind of served their own self-interest and work closely with other governments and with our own government, of course. But the cooperation since the 1940s has really, really, really been tight. They've been really tight buds. You know, and then you start looking at big corporations and how big corporations influence big mainstream media with their big dollars. You know, you think about how big pharma, what purpose does it serve to advertise all these prescription drugs? You couldn't go over the counter and buy it. And then you're going to go to the doctor and tell them what to prescribe you? The doctor that had to go through all those years of school and training to be able to prescribe these things, he's going to take your word for it on what ails you and what you should prescribe yourself. I mean, seriously. Now, don't get me wrong. There are people out there that do their due diligence in their study and they find out, oh, hey, you know what? Maybe there's this holistic alternative or whatever. But it's not like, oh, hey, doc, I just saw this Celebrex commercial. Why don't you throw me a script and let me see if that works? That's not how it goes. So then what's the ulterior motive for putting billions of dollars in advertising funds to mainstream media for drugs that people couldn't even think about going and buying? And that their doctor would be insane to prescribe just on the demand that you prescribe it to me. It's not going to happen, right? So what is it? It's just a way to grease the palms of the mainstream media to keep it quiet, to keep quiet any sort of issue that may arise, any sort of side effect, any sort of contagion, any sort of bad vaccine or vaccine injuries, anything like that. Shh, just keep it quiet. Don't bite the hand that feeds you. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. It's all it is. It's hush money. Hush money. You're not going to get the truth from the mainstream media or companies that are 100% dependent upon big corporate dollars to fund their operation. You're not going to get the truth out of companies and corporations that require permits and authorization from the federal government, whether it be the FCC or other institution within the government, to allow you and your business model to take to the airwaves. You're never going to get the 100% truth. You have to go to independent media. Has to be. So, 2018. You want to make a workaround? Do you want to get around the Google censorship? Do you want to get around the fake news? It's very simple. There are people out there that are working very hard and very diligently to get you what you need. Here at the Sheeple, at other independent media sites, in every country, citizen reporters are doing what they can to get these out to you. And the biggest thing I can tell you is don't support mainstream media. And it's hard. It's hard. So guys like me, I go and I sift through the mainstream media to try and sift through what's real and what's not, what's fake and what's real. You know, if you can do that and you have good discernment, then by all means do it. But I can tell you that as time goes on, they're going to keep changing the game, and as they change the game, we have to change our own. And that includes circumventing these search engines and circumventing these sites, these mainstream sites that might do you harm or censor you. Or just work around it. Start becoming our own social network. And if we can do that, then the sky's the limit, and they hold no power over us. I'm Joe Joseph. This was thedailysheeple.com's News Shot. Feel free to comment below and visit our website at thedailysheeple.com. # wake the flock up. Have a great day, everybody.